What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hearthstone for Noobs. This is Stone Arena, and today we're playing 10 games with Toshlowe. And I'm going to make this a 3-part series so that way you can watch a bit at a time and it's not like some super long video, especially since we're playing a priest in this video today. It might take a little longer some of the games. We're playing mechs and mech synergy, so it could also still flow fairly quickly. But the way that this deck has worked so far with the sort of trials I've done with it, it really is like a closer deck. You're using that early game mech synergy, that speed and that power of the mech warpers and stuff to get yourself in a position to where you just have complete control over the board and your opponent. And it doesn't always work like that, and we're going to see how this does and doesn't work over the next 10 games. So we'll do a quick rundown of the deck real quick first to get started, and then we'll jump into the games. So 2 power word shields. These are important because, well, they're good priest cards. We like to be able to draw a card, and we like to be able to add health to our minions and stuff. But more importantly, in case we don't have a lot of spare parts by the time we get to Toshlowe, they are the 1-mana spells that can help add mechs to our hand. And this is part of the point of this deck. Often we get to the point where we're not so far behind that we need Toshlowe, and in those situations, actually, like I said, we're not really far behind. We're normally winning in those games where Toshlowe will sit in your hand occasionally as you just sort of close the game out because there's better options. And then there's other times where you are a little bit too far behind and Toshlowe doesn't really quite bring you back into it. But there are plenty of games where his effect is really useful, and the game could go either way. And occasionally what will happen is, you will play Toshlowe and manage to get Finicky Cloak filled onto him or something like that, play a couple of spare parts, get a couple of mechs from it, and your opponent will see what's going on and sort of get frustrated and feel like they can't really continue. So he has swung and won quite a few games for me before. So that's this originally was a Toshlowe centric deck, and mostly because I don't play a lot on Asia, but I do play a little bit on the Asia server, and I haven't opened. I've opened the first wing of Blackrock Mountain, but I haven't opened Noxramas or any of the rest of Blackrock Mountain. It's all whatever I would do with gold, and I'm certainly not going to dedicate my gold to opening Noxramas and whatnot on the Asia server when I've already got pretty developed accounts on NA and EU. So this server is more for me to have fun, experiment, and also play with decks that aren't going to have the Noxramas expansion cards and more or less the Blackrock Mountain expansion cards. You'll have GVG stuff because these are cards that we can all get that we have access to, and even if you haven't gotten a pack yet, you can still craft fairly easily, but you can't actually craft the expansion cards. So we're actually able to stay away from any cards that are required, from pain to open an expansion. So that's okay. Standard other priest cards include Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Word Death. Velen's Chosen is very good, and this is pretty much a 2 of deck. The only things we have 1 of are things that are like Holy Nova, for example. We have 1 of this card because we like to have it early against a more aggressive deck, like a Zoo deck or a Face Hunter or something like that. But the card itself later in your hand is less useful because you're going to be facing such stronger minions. You're going to be facing larger boards with stronger minions. It's going to be difficult to kill everything with just 2 damage. And that's why we put 2 light bombs in here. Before I didn't have 2 light bombs, so I was running 1 and 2 Holy Novas, and I just don't think it was getting it done. So I switched over to light bombs. I crafted another one so I could actually make this deck work a little better, hopefully. And even though it kind of jeopardizes some of our late game minions, light bomb's a bit more of a comeback mechanism where if you really are quite far behind on the board, you drop 1 of these and it should even things out a little bit. It's actually a pretty good play as well, in response to Dr. Boom, because you get to, if you have a couple things that will survive the light bomb, you might even eat up those Boombot explosions, but at the end of the day, you're just getting rid of all of it, in one go. So it's not too bad. Then we've got our mechs. We've got the Annoyatrons, the mech warpers, the spider tanks, very important, the Tinkertown technicians, which are going to give us more spare parts to add to our hand, and we can use the spare parts a little bit liberally. We've got plenty of spare part generators in this deck. So Tinkertown Technician's a really good 3-drop when you get him out behind a mech and make sure he gets that buff and gives you the spare parts. So that's pretty good. Mechanical Yetis we're taking in favor over Piloted Shredders because we want to make sure we're getting the spare parts. And there's a lot of arguments for why Piloted Shredder is better than Mechanical Yeti in most senses. And the argument's always going to come down to the fact that Piloted Shredder drops another body. But Mechanical Yeti does have 2 more health and is harder to kill because of that. You can't just silence it and then kill it fairly easily it doesn't have like the same effect. Silencing it, robbing somebody of a spare part's not that big of a deal, particularly when the Yeti gives you both a spare part. So there you go. We have anti-kill bots because, like I said, the game occasionally will go into like a later part of the match, and particularly against like the more aggressive decks like Mech Mage and Face Hunter. And this is the Asia server, so there's Mech Mage is still a pretty predominant archetype, and I've noticed like most of my time in ladder games on this server, we do come up against a lot of aggressive decks, not just Mech Mage, but just generally mech-centric or fairly aggressive decks. So anti-killbot's actually pretty good because it gives us health when we haven't got time to heal or we need to dedicate healing to some of the minions to keep them like dominant on the board. Upgraded Repair Bot's another one that normally doesn't see a lot of play, even in like some of the Mech Mage decks, or Mech Priest decks, excuse me. You don't see it a huge amount, but it actually is a really good card, like in a deck like this. Gazlowe we went over. Temple Enforcer is like the upgraded Healbot, another really big body. A 6/6 is really hard for opponents to deal with like too many big things. So the fact that it can grant any friendly minion plus 3 health, plus getting that body on the board is normally pretty valuable. Then Toshlowe, which I made specifically to complement my Asia cards because I've had Gazlowe for a long time, and I find I get a lot of mech synergy and spare part synergy, so I thought, why not, throw Toshlowe in there, so I actually spent the dust and made Toshlowe. But he's actually worked out pretty well for this deck. And then Dr. Boom to top it off, which the Boombots are mechs, so it kind of fits in with the whole mech thing. And let's be honest, it's Dr. 7. He goes in every deck. So there you go. That's a basic rundown. Everything here is fairly simple, fairly straightforward. And now we're going to get into a game and see if we can start off with a win. That'd be fantastic. And we're at rank 15 on the ladder. So this is probably a pretty good testing ground. I feel like when you play on ladder, it feels like sort of rank 20 to 18 is a real just mishmash of poor decks, poor players. Sometimes you'll, as a good player at the beginning of the month, even at any time of the month, if you're sitting at rank 20, it's kind of a struggle to get through out of that like muck to like 17, 16, 15 because you can't really expect anything from your opponents. You don't know what to expect. Their decks are incomplete. They're trying to follow one sort of archetype, but they haven't got the right cards, and therefore it makes it more difficult to anticipate what they're actually going to do. But once you sort of get past that sort of rank 17, 16, now you start to see more decks that are a little bit more standardized, a little bit more like popular in the meta, and these people are just maybe not quite so good at playing them. And then you also have some more like pay-to-win players who have like really powerful, like heavy legendary minion decks, but they just don't really know how to play the game that well. And then once you get to like rank 15, this is where the decks are like a lot more ironed out in general. And this is where like each player is sort of settled in to the ladder, and they're just sort of working the ladder with whatever deck they're using at the time. And we're gonna go ahead and Shadow Word Paint this. And maybe they're learning like a new deck that they've just built, but it's going to be like a more complete deck. Like you're going to see plenty of Patron Warriors at rank 15. You're going to see Handlocks. You're going to see all sorts of decks that are really well established, and it's just more people learning them, or people who haven't been playing so much ladder. They sort of get to this level fairly easily, and then now you're actually competing with these better players. And I think once you get sort of towards closer to maybe like rank 10. Then that's where it becomes like super competitive, and now you're just playing against really high quality players, and there's just like not a lot of room at the top. I mean, rank 10 is only halfway up the ladder, as it were, but at this point now you're like really starting to compete with like really good players, really well built decks, and people who understand them fairly deeply as well. So yeah, that's kind of like where you're at. But considering, like I said, rank 15 is a good testing ground for any deck. If you're at rank 15 and you want to try a deck out, if you can't sort of move up with it from there, then it probably isn't strong enough to compete with at least like what's going on currently in the meta. So just have that in mind, and don't be afraid to try stuff out on the ladder, because there's plenty of good decks being tried out on in like the casual mode, but at the end of the day, you're not really going to know how strong and capable your deck is until you're like playing on the ladder. And just even like I said, even if you're at rank 20, it's still a better barometer. It's still like a better way to like figure out like exactly how powerful the deck is. You might struggle a little bit like when you're starting like with a new deck with an idea you came up with it, like the lower ranks. But once you get out of that mess, it's not too bad. So here, I think we haven't drawn into Gazlowe yet, so I'm not really worried about like collecting a bunch of spare parts at this point, and I don't want to like feed them the Yeti. So we're just gonna play Spider Tank. We don't even need to heal here, and we're just gonna keep pushing. But yeah, so that's basically like sort of my take on what the ladder has to offer you, like the different levels, especially like the lower levels, like 20 to 15, and then sort of moving on from there, and really like the fact that you really should be testing your decks on the ladder. Don't be afraid, and don't be just taking them out in casual and then wondering why you can't like win in once you hit the ladder, because ranked mode is the way to really put yourself and your deck to the test. Now we're just gonna have to play the Yeti. So yeah, that's basically that. And having said all of that, let's like get into the game more seriously here. It's been like a fairly standard slowish start versus what looks to be like another mech mage, but she's used a lot of like control-y stuff and burst right now just to like whittle my hand down. But like I said, we'll go from here and we'll just get straight into like game commentary now. Okay, cool. See you guys maybe at the end of the video or in the next one. Okay, so like here, like I don't have my Shadow Word Pain either, and if I do put Velen's Chosen on the Yeti, I mean he's gonna get instantly, polymorphed or fireballed or something like that. But at the end of the day, like we don't have a lot of minions in our hand right now, so we just want to kind of stay ahead of the mage's board and see how much we can keep control of what's going on until we start drawing into some of our stronger stuff. It's quite funny. We haven't really seen many minions at all. I think it's been one Spider Tank, one Annoyatron, one Tinkertown Technician, and we do get a Fireball out, so that's not the worst. I mean, now we know the mage is like short like a Fireball. I still feel like we're pretty far ahead of this game, so play another Yeti, and this is funny because we have Time Rewinder and we have Anti-Killbot, so we have like a ton of healing. The mage hasn't really taken any initiative against us yet, and I'm waiting to see, like, maybe they're waiting to draw into like some good cards, but clearly not if they're playing Lord of the Arena. It's very strange. Like, I mean, you can get to rank 15 with some fairly basic decks, but at the same time, that one's interesting. So, question is it going to be Counterspell or is it going to be Duplicate? It doesn't really matter, except that we want to make sure we kill it. Even if it gets duplicated, we want to kill the Lord of the Arena here. So, I kind of want to use Shadow Word Death, but I'm not sure if it's Counterspell. So it's probably Duplicate, but we're going to test for Counterspell with the coin. And there you go. And so now what I was going to do is if I had 10 mana, I could still Shadow Word Death it, and then I could play Gazlowe and return something to my hand. But this way works just as fine. We're just going to Death it. And knowing that it's not Duplicate is kind of nice because he doesn't get two more big taunts that we have to deal with. Now, on top of that, like, why didn't I just throw down Gazlowe there? Because we could lose Gazlowe to Polymorph or the other Fireball pretty easily. And we want to get some value out of Gazlowe. Currently, we have one spare part. We're about to get another. And this is funny, because this could also be another Counterspell. So I'm not entirely sure if I just want to test for this. Whirling Blades of Attack. So see, like here, like I have to trade. I have to trade these in, and if it's Counterspell, it's going to screw up my Holy Nova pretty hard. So let's do it like this. Let's make a spare part and see what we get. Maybe it's Whirling Attack Blades. Okay, cool. It's Mirror Entity, so that's almost even better. We want a Holy Nova, and we want to kill this. So we're going to go like this. We're going to put that on there. I wish I had more spare parts still, but that's fine. And then that's fine because we get rid of that. And, like, he's going to ping this off and trade these here, but that's going to give us a second spare part to complement Gazlowe. And I would really, really like a Finicky Cloakfield, but if we don't get one, it's okay. Worst comes to worst, it's kind of like a slow way to play it, but we can play Gazlowe, play both the spare parts, and then bring him back. Or, play a spare part and then bring him back with the other one. Okay, and Lothab's going to stop me from playing any spare parts with Gazlowe on this next turn. So again, we're not going to play Gazlowe. What would be really nice if we had Toshlowe. And that is none of them. So here's the problem. Like, this is a turn in the game that we reach where we shouldn't really be out of minions as such, but there's like no way I want to feed him Gazlowe here. I mean, I could, but he's going to basically like kill Gazlowe for free. This is still going to have 2 health, which I'm not really going to be able to do anything about it. So I just have to pass turn here. I don't have to. I could have thrown Gazlowe down, but at this point, like, look, I'm not facing so much damage that I can't, like, you know, totally re-up with anti-killbots anyway, so it's no big deal. And Light Bomb's looking better. They may or may not throw down another creature here. And see, so that's fine. Light Bomb will, like, wipe this board. We got another Light Bomb, and we actually didn't take that much damage, so we're going to be okay. It'd be nice to draw, like, at least a Spider Tank here. But, like, I'm not really getting anything that I want at the moment. So we will just clear the board and heal. At least now he's seen a Light Bomb and he's seen a Holy Nova. He might not expect another one. And at this point, like, if he decides to like dump like 2 or 3 things on his board that are like really high priority targets, then yeah, we can Light Bomb it again. Looks like he's just gonna go with the 1 though. Okay. Healbot might be the play here. In fact, it is the play, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna heal, which we only lose like a little bit, but we're gonna give that like a ton more health. And see what the mage wants to do. See if he wants to challenge, you know, the big one or the little one. Because if he challenges the little one, then the Pilot of Shredder stays alive and he can ping it off. But it still requires like that much attention. And he's saying like, oh well, because now you're just gonna have to trade your upgraded repair bot into my Pilot Shredder. Oh, that's strange. Like now he's gonna Flame Strike. Okay, so what happened there is the Healbot like basically absorbed a turn of pain for us, and giving that health is really not going to like improve. So like maybe he's just trying to use a spare part, but I don't see the point in doing that. Okay, swap a minion's attack and health. I can do that. So now it's going to be like high health, low attacks, no big deal. Okay, look, Mimiron's head. This is very interesting. He's likely to have polymorph, so we're just going to send Gazlowe back. Take another. Okay, fell cannon, that's pretty funny. Okay, look, now we can just kill this, but we're going to take a hit from it first. And then we can use Shadow Word Pain if it's like a better target doesn't come out. Like, for example, like if he played a Sludge Belcher, then we'd probably rather Shadow Word Pain the Sludge Belcher, because now this is a 2/6. It's not really very dangerous to us. It's just not going to go away anytime soon. But we need like more mechs, more little mechs. Okay, there we go. So see, this is better. I want to kill this because I figure it's not going to drop a mech, and we're going to play Fell Cannon here. Fire Guard Destroyer. That's pretty amazing that he got that. At least it doesn't get the buff. So the problem is going to be here, like, does he have another Flame Strike? Because if he has another Flame Strike, he's going to do some like major damage, just because it means he clears my board sort of for free. But if he doesn't have another Flame Strike... Okay, we get the second Fireball out on the Fell Cannon. That's fantastic. How many more spare parts can I produce, though? That's the question. Just trying to think. Okay, like Annoyatron doesn't. Okay, I'm worried about him polymorphing it, but Annoyatron doesn't give us any benefits. So unless he polymorphs him, which you know he might be like, oh yeah, poly right there. But unless he polymorphs him, then we have like a good minion now with taunt and divine shield. Yeah, it looks like he's just gonna have to go straight through it. We saw both frostbolts and both fireballs. There's Rag. This is another great spot for Light Bomb. I'd really like Rag to hit face here. Ow, we got it. Okay. Light Bomb that shit. And now Toshlowe is going to be super valuable to us because he's going to give us more spare parts to make more mechs and possibly get off of Mimiron's head. That'd be really fun in our first video to actually show Voltron. Like, I never have had Mimiron's head in my collection, but I have made Voltron quite a few times from the Gazlowe effect, so this may be a good chance for that. We've used an awful lot of what the mage has to give. That's the best thing about it. And what's the chance that they... See, I don't want him to just ping it off. Like, I don't think he's going to kill me on this turn, so I don't want him to just be able to ping this off. I'd much rather him, like, figure out a way to kill Toshlowe with, like, the Spellbreaker and shit like that, and then we get to play Gazlowe plus 2 more spare parts. Oh, you bastard! But he polymorphs that. That's... Has he been sitting on that polymorph for a while? Like, why would you polymorph a 5/7 that has almost no residual effect? I don't know. But we don't have any more board clear. So we're going to have to start getting funky with other stuff. That's good. That heals us up. And if we play Mimiron's Head, it's annoying because he's going to be able to kill it and ping it off. But we're at a stage in our deck now where it might be worth... It might be. I wish I had another spare part right now. I think maybe we're being too greedy. I think we should just play Mimiron's Head. Because now he's going to like have to trade these, like ping it off and trade it. But he also knows that Mimiron's Head isn't a threat right now. It's just basically a Yeti. That's not bad. Wow, Reckless Rocketeer. So he's trying like really hard to keep this Spellbreaker alive because it has 4 attack and I can't like manipulate a 4 attack creature like naturally as a priest. You can only do 3 or less or 5 or more, which is fine. It's fine, but like here, like now I got to throw down a 6 body with no bonus effect, but at the same time it's a 6/6. Like he's used fireballs, he's used a polymorph, he's used 2 frostbolts, like he's used a flame strike, he's running out of answers. He's used Ragnaros, for example. Like we've seen a lot of stuff. We haven't seen Dr. Boom yet, I don't believe. So there's that. Okay, so we eat that up. So give me something that I can use. Upgraded repair bot. No good. He shouldn't have any direct removal for Gazlowe at this point, though. Let's see what we get. Oh, we got another heal bot. That's kind of funny. But he shouldn't have anything unless he's got like another Reckless Rocketeer. Then he can Reckless Rocketeer and ping. But he shouldn't have anything else that's going to be able to just get rid of Gazlowe. Unless there was a second polymorph in the deck. He's going to Faceless. Frost Nova. This deck is funny. It seems like it's either like burst or like something chargy, like to simulate burst. Oh, look at that! We still get another mech from Gazlowe. That's awesome. Oh, piloted shredder. Wow, look at. Okay, look, here we go. And then this is the beauty of this. And that'll do it. Game 1. See, once that run out starts, like there's just nothing left. Like they had nothing left in the tank for us. So game 1, we get a win. Not too bad. Jump right into game 2, and look, we got a little quest going on too. Got to win 2 more games to complete the quest. So if we can do those both in a row, that'd be fantastic. Because we're doing 10 games. That didn't say 10 wins. I didn't say 10 losses. I said 10 games. So hopefully we have a positive record at the end of that. But one out of 1 isn't too bad. Now Rogue. I haven't really played a lot of rogues that I can think of with this deck because, like I said, the meta here is much more like fast aggressive. So it's possible that this is. It's possible that this is like a mech rogue, like with the Iron Sensei and stuff like that. But at this point, we're just gonna have to like sort of count on it being like your standard oil rogue and see what happens. I didn't keep Power Word Shield because I was trying to get my lower, mana minions out. It was really funny. We didn't get a Mech Warper there till like the end of the deck. We're trying to mulligan for like Mech Warpers. Obviously, Mech Warpers and Noyatrons are really good. And Mech Warper or Noyatron like Spider Tank is like sort of your ideal like whole cards to start with. And like a Noyatron stops some stuff, but like okay, so now we go a Noyatron Spider Tank. That's not bad. And the thing is that none of these creatures have spare parts. So right now, I think he might backstab this, yeah. which is fine, because even though he gets rid of a Noyatron, he's just used a backstab, and he's, we're just trying to, like, wear the rogue down, because the rogue wants to be able to set up. So if the rogue gets on top of you, and their board is more developed than yours as they're, like, building towards combo turns, you're, like, in real trouble. So we want to be the one that's, like, got the minion on the board, making the rogue do the one that's doing the regulating and making sure that they don't fall behind. Okay, Violet Teacher. So I'd really like to draw Shadow Word Pain here. I don't, but I can kill the Violet Teacher. And here's the thing, right? Now I'm like more likely to get sapped than anything else, which means I lose like the effective Ellen's Chosen, but I get the minion back. Whereas if she has like a way to kill it, then I don't get the minion back, Like, so I don't actually mind. Although I don't know what's going on here. She's prep sprinting. So she's going to leave the minion up for a turn, which is actually kind of nice for us because we can heal it. It makes it harder to kill. She can't just like ping eviscerate it. I will take that. I think that's a good turn for us. And then, okay, so we have Mech Warper, which I think it's worth playing Mech Warper. Just to keep more stuff out there, keep the rogue busier. I mean, we don't want to give her like a really good high-value Blade Flurry, but at the same time, like, we want to be in control. And she's just filled her hand up with cards, so we need to make sure that we are like pushing the action here. Still no spare parts in hand, so really no point in playing Gazelle on the next turn. And there's the sap. Which, like I said, it's fine. It's better than losing it in that sense. And also, if she uses her saps early, it's a rogue, so I refer to as a female. Then it gives us like the opportunity to make sure that our bigger, stickier minions like stay out there and stay sticky. That's both backstabs we've seen as well, so that's important. Like, now we know there's no more backstabs. There's eviscerates, but no backstabs. Is that Earthen Ring? It's so funny how Earthen Ring's had a bit of a resurgence. I feel like I'm being a bit of a hipster about it, but up until like a few weeks ago, we didn't see very many Earthen Rings at all, and then suddenly, like, now here they are. She might actually sap this now. Suddenly, yeah, like a lot of people are using Earthen Ring to like shore up their deck. I remember basically what happened was I started playing Handlock, like, I don't know. I made the Handlock deck maybe 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. I finally like went all in, like disenchanted a ton of shit, and made Jiraxxus and made the Mountain Giants because I had the Molten Giants already. But like it's not very much of Handlock. You're like, well, I've got Molten Giants. I just need to spend like another 3,000 dust. But I did, and the first thing I realized was like I hate Zombie Chow, but I really like Earthen Ring Farseer. So like I started sticking those in my decks, and then I put them into my Paladin decks, and like I feel like Earthen Ring is like a really good, especially turn 3 if you're playing something aggro, because you're going to have taken a little bit of damage, and he's like a 3/3 for 3 is pretty good, especially when it gives you health as well. So I really like this card, and it's just funny to see like it getting a lot more play now, like way more than it used to. What's going on here? So actually, this is a really good Holy Nova spot. I wish I had spell damage +1, so like I have to kind of like kill him, and I just take like the healing from the Holy Nova, and then fill her back up. Fill her up. That definitely looks like a dude, but you guys know what I mean. Destroy a random enemy minion. There you go. Which means that like my light bomb is more valuable now because now I'm not, trying to protect like my own like big body. Still, we have no spare parts in hand yet. It's kind of frustrating. So we're gonna throw down the 5/5, keep ourselves full of health, and go from there. But yeah, like it's just funny. Like it seems like in the last game too, we just didn't draw into like our really. Any of our good minions early. We end up with, like, spells, which is ironic because, we don't always need a lot of spells. What we need more is to, like, dominate the board. And sometimes, like, that's why this deck is built for, like, longevity, like, to have that reach, like, in the late game. So that when it goes down like this, you still have options. Well, that was Eviscerate number 2. So we've seen both backstabs, both eviscerates, one sap. I mean, you know, what we need to do now is like run through uh, like the Tank Master's oil without being like put into too much danger. I can't see where she wouldn't at least play Deadly Poison here. She's gonna hit me and reload. That's like so next turn that they can do like a really big flurry and finish, I think. Well, look at that. There's a frickin' mech, which will give us a spare part. So here we go. Did we just compliment them with like making it like a sap target? So they can sap combo shit. But look, they've drawn 10 more cards than we have. So all we have to do is outlast like one really big push, and then like bounce back from it strong enough that they can't like finish me off with another like push. There's the sap. This like sets up the nice like Tank Master's oil. But instead she's just going for it like that. And that's kind of interesting because now I get to play the Yeti again. No more saps. And I get to play the heal bot. So unless, I mean, this could be a 30 damage turn. That's for sure. But what do we have here? We're going to get Blade Flurried too out of all of it. But I can do 2, 3, yeah. So we can play all of these. Go to full health, and then let's see, like double tank oil would be 9, 10, plus another 12. It'd be like 22? Plus Blade Flurry? Oh, I don't even know anymore. I think this is going to be a Blade Flurry. This is strange. Because she does like some significant damage to me here, but she doesn't like do enough. It's going to have to like come on the next turn. This is like a really great spot for Light Bomb for us. So we get the Light Bomb heal, and I think there's one more heal bot in here too, right? We didn't use it. So just get rid of that. And then hope that she doesn't have enough to kill us one turn here. Now we've seen a Blade Flurry, that's important. We've only seen one Deadly Poison though. So 2 Tank Oils will put her at 7 for 14 damage. She needs like a charge as well. That's fine. Like now we need to start like recovering though. Like I feel like we've exhausted like a look. She's down to 4 cards. 4 plus 6, 10 cards total. This would be a good spot for Shadow Madness. Like we don't have Shadow Madness. I'm just saying. And she's used both saps. So even though we don't get to to dedicate the spare parts to Gazlowe right now, like the important part right now is being flexible with the deck, staying alive, and finishing off like taking what this rogue has to give us. Now there's going to be 2 Tank Oils in here, but she's got to go through Dr. Boom. So maybe she has an Assassinate? I can't see where they'd be running Assassinate though. We already saw Sabotage. She's going to get Tank Oil and then Blade Flurry. And that would do 7 plus 3. Wow, this could happen. I don't want to lose here. This will suck. Kill this guy. Whew. Now I need to draw my other heal bot. This is really bad. We've seen all the burst. Can I heal enough? I mean, I got it. I can only heal 2 right here. This is pretty sick. So we gotta fade. We gotta fade damage. We gotta fade 5 more. That's one Tank Oil. Like if she plays, I guess she wins, right? With Dread Corsair or South Sea Deckhand Tank Oil. That's the winning play. We need heals. We need taunts. That's kind of bad. Oh no, misplay, misplay. Shit. Okay. She's got 3, so she only needs to find 4 damage now. Which, I mean, Tinkoil. Tinkoil does it. You just gotta combo it to anything. You must have another South Sea deckhand. Yeah, that'll do it, right? Yep, that's kind of a shame. It sucks that she got that Gilblin Stalker out. Kind of harsh. But there you go, 1-1. Oh, it was so close. If we had drawn like another heal bot, it would have been okay. But yeah, there you go, 1-1 in the first 2 games, and I will see you guys in part 2. In parts 2 and 3, we'll do like 4 games of each since we had like an intro in this one and all that stuff. All right. So yeah, see you guys in the next video.